We are rolling. How you doing, guys? Simone here. Welcome to my first episode of. Hold on. I don't think the. No, that's first. Yeah, that's good. Figured it out. No opening yet. I'll get to it. No opening. No fancy, music or anything. Just my face. So it's my first video. A little intro by myself. My name is Simon. People call me Simone. Uh, I've always been obsessed with football ever since I was 10. Uh, I, I was never, so when I was a kid, I was never like a sporty kind of a kid until I was like 10. I was more of like a movie nerd, like Star Wars, Pokemon, Nintendo. Like I was that kind of nerd. And then I was 10. My mom started to date my eventual stepdad, and he actually got me into football. He was actually a diehard Jets fan, and I and and he sat with me and watched football when I first got to know him. And eventually, I started to watch football religiously. Then the next season, I became a Bills fan because I grew up in the Buffalo area. So yeah. So I've always loved football ever since then, and it's always been a great passion of mine. I never really talked about it, which I think is kind of a shame, on like Facebook or anything like that, or a YouTube channel. I never knew why I never took advantage of doing that, because I really do like talking about football. So I just thought it'd be fun to start a channel and just talk ball. So what I wanted to do was start off was predict every NFL team's record coming into the next season. And I decided, okay, I'm going to do it alphabetically to start off. And lucky for me, I started off with the Arizona Cardinals. And, this seems bad. So it's okay. So let's just start. I've made a couple attempts to make this video already. It's not my first attempt, and I've tried to like talk about the history of this team for the past 10 years, but I kept on rambling, and so I'm just going to keep it simple. So last year they ended up 3-14. Not great. Just not great. The previous season they ended up 8-9. 8-9, and that was seen as an improvement, right? They thought, okay, well, 8-9. We drafted Marvin Harrison a couple years ago. Hopefully, he'll get better, and we'll see what happens. This year, they started off well, 2-0, albeit against the Panthers and the Saints, who are not the best teams, but still, it's 2-0, it's 2-0. And then they just started to unravel after they won their 8th game against the Cowboys in Week 8. And they went on what was it? A 11 game losing streak. They ended up 3-14. So they fired their coach, Jonathan Gannon. They kicked him out of the curb. Fired the OC. So they hired a guy by the name of Mike LaFleur, and I'm sure he's a very, very smart football mind, and that he's still young as shit too. So maybe, as if you don't know, Mike LaFleur used to be the OC for the Jets during the Zach Wilson days, and yeah, it ended up being a disaster. Robert Saleh ended up firing his ass, and it didn't work out. And so when I saw and he eventually settled with the Rams with his buddy Sean McVay, and they had a great season last year. Matt Stafford had an MVP type season. When it didn't seem like that would be likely, considering that entering the season that Matt Stafford was dealing with like a very serious shoulder problem. So that was a very impressive season that the Rams had last year. Almost went to the Super Bowl, obviously didn't. Fell one game short against Seattle, who eventually ended up winning the whole damn thing. And And the Cardinals thought, okay, great. Well, that's impressive. So they hired Michael Floor, which it's fine. It's fine. Young guy. Yes, he had the bad stint against when he was with the Jets a few years ago, but he's still young as shit. Maybe he improved. Maybe he's not. I think he's only like 34, so he's still really really young. So maybe he got more experience under his belt. They brought back the DC Nick Rallis, who was Jonathan Gannon's DC in Arizona for 3 years before Gannon got fired himself. So he retained the DC, which I find very, very interesting because, again, and the DC is a young guy. Nick Rallis is a very young guy too. So maybe he'll get more. Maybe he'll get better. But the stats last year just were not pretty at all. The defense just went back. Like they went like 3 steps back. So I don't know if I was the biggest fan of retaining Nick Rallis. And then, oh boy, he brought Nate Hackett as OC. Nate Hackett is, so I'm a Bills fan, as I said before. So when I was 14, 15, he actually was the OC for Buffalo. And did not last, I think he lasted only like 2 years in Buffalo. Then he went to Green Bay, had a successful stint with Green Bay, but he had a quarterback named Aaron Rodgers in his offense when he was in Green Bay. So, oh my God, he looked so great. Oh my God. So he went to Denver as a coach and head coach, and it did not pan out at all. He didn't even finish the fucking season. So, and warning, there's going to be cursing. I have a horrible potty mouth, so excuse me. But, yeah, so Nate Hackett did not work in Denver. So he went to New York after Aaron Rodgers said, you know what, I'm going to the Jets, and I want Nate Hackett as my OC. Let's run it back. That was the biggest clusterfuck of all time with the Jets. Robert Saleh got fired. Aaron Rodgers looked old. It just did not look great at all. So that was a disaster. So honestly, after when that happened, I thought to myself, well, there's no way Nate Hackett is going to get another job, right? No, he keeps getting these jobs. He keeps getting these OC jobs. And maybe he's a smart guy. And again, couch quarterback maybe. But I just look at Nate Hackett's time with the league, right? And I just think I don't understand why he keeps getting more and more chances. I really don't understand it. But maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll capitalize with Jacoby Brissett. And I just don't know. So let's see what went wrong last year. There's a lot of reasons why they went 3-14. A lot of reasons. I'm going to say this up front. This is probably, in my opinion, the number one reason. You cannot win in this league and have your leading rusher for the entire season rush for 333 yards. You play an 17 game schedule in a season. And I get they were bombarded with injuries all year, and I get that. But still, 333 yards. That's you're not going to win in this league, like at all. If you only rush with, you can't. So I think that was the big reason why. The passing offense was actually very efficient. Jacoby Brissett is probably one of the best backups in the league. So after Kyler went down, he performed really well. Yes, he had like a couple like stat bad games because when he got blown out, I get that. But man, Brissett realized that he has people on his offense that he can rely on. Specifically Trey McBride, who might be the best tight end in football right now. I would say he's the best tight end in football in my opinion. Him and Kittle are 1A, 1B right now. Um, yeah, so he's fantastic. So that's part of the reason why he did really well stat wise. But also the breakout of Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson was also so he had a very interesting college career. He had a really good career in Stanford. Uh, got injured a shit ton, and that's why he kind of fell down in the draft because he was a really good receiver out of college, but I think he was a third round pick, third or fourth round pick, I think, and he was solid up to last year, but this year he really started to take hold. Uh, so yeah, so that was so I'm not saying Arizona doesn't have things to be excited about because I think that Michael Wilson's a good receiver. Trey McBride's obviously fucking awesome. Uh, Marvin Harrison Jr. Yes, he's had a slow time adjusting to the NFL, but I believe he's going to be a really good receiver in his own right. So those are the positives, but you can only have so many positives as a passing offense if your leading rusher is 333 yards. And that wasn't even that, and that was far from the problems that they had. The O line was just in shambles the whole year. They allowed 59 sacks the whole entire year, which was 20, and they were also 26 allowed in pass rush percentage, uh, but just not good. They allowed a 26 pass rush percent allowed rate, and that's just not going to get it done. You got to protect the quarterback, and Brissett was running for his life, especially in the interior. And Tony Williams, who was their right tackle. So that was so offensively. That's where they struggled was basically O line and running game, which is football 101 to me. Like if you can't run the ball, you're not going to get far in this league. You're just not, unless if you have like an absurd quarterback or an absurd passing offense. And they have a solid passing offense, but they don't have like an absurd passing offense. So they just weren't good enough to overcome the rushing difficulties. A little stat that I think kind of matters and might be overlooked a little bit. They had a 20, they had a 20, 54% red zone conversion rate, which was 22nd in the entire league. If you want to score points, if you want to make field goals, if you want to do any of that fun shit, you got to score in the red zone. If you don't score in the red zone, then you need to score points. That's just unexcusable. They're 25th allowed in rush defense yards allowed. And that's a whole other problem that they had. They couldn't run the ball, but guess what? They couldn't stop the run. So that was the main reason why their defense struggled. But that's definitely not the only reason. Their pass defense rating against quarterback ratings was 25th in the league. They could not stop the pass attack either. 28th in sacks, 20 in turnovers allowed. So they were okay at turning the ball over, but if you want to be a playmaking defense, I would like to see that number go up a little bit. Here is one of the reasons why I think defense was atrocious. 6th most in the league in tackles. And that probably is one of the reasons why they were so bad in run defense. You got to tackle. If you can't tackle, then you're just going to you're just not going to make it far in this league playing good defense if you can't tackle. Can't wrap anybody up. So that's what they got wrong. But like I said before, they had some right. I mentioned Michael Wilson. Brissett was a game manager, which what they needed him to be. They had McBride, who's the best tight end in football. Marvin Harrison, if he stays healthy, he can be legit. They made a really, really good get in getting Josh Sweat. They really needed to find a way to bring more pass rush, and they still didn't have that last year, all things considered. But they did have Josh Sweat, and Josh Sweat for years in Philadelphia, he came from Philly, and I said for years like he was severely underrated. He didn't have the sack totals that are kind of sexy, but he was always up in the league in terms of pressure rate. He always generated a lot of pressure. He won his one-on-one battles with the offensive linemen for years in Philadelphia. So I thought that was a tremendous signing, and the sacks actually did come this year for Josh Sweat. He got 12 sacks altogether. So they found their guy at edge rusher, which is really good for them. Uh, so all things considered, the season was an absolute just a dumpster fire. They fired the coach, undisciplined, could not run the ball, could not stop running the ball, could not stop the run, couldn't get after the quarterback. Like it was just a mess. Even though if you have a couple of sprinkles on top of shit, it's still shit. So I just it's so yeah. So I'm pretty sure they were very happy to move on from that atrocity of the season. They went 3 steps backwards, and like I said before, they changed coaching staffs, and I'm not a big fan of the coaching staff, but maybe it can work. I've been wrong before. So free agency was important for them because they probably realized to themselves, okay, we can't stop the run, we can't run the ball. So Mike LaFleur, so Mike LaFleur, he's a big like zone read kind of guy. He comes from the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan like system, where like you just run the zone reads. So I think he really wanted off athletic interior O lineman, and I think that's what he got. He signed Isaac Moyu. What's his name? Sayamalu, there we go. From Pittsburgh, the offensive guard from Pittsburgh, from free agency. As a run blocker, granted, yeah, he's not great, but yes, like I said before, they needed to stop. They need to improve the running game, but they also did need to protect the quarterback better. Sayamalu ranked third out of all guards last year in pass grade, so that's great for them. Tyler Agier, they got the running back from Atlanta. He backed up Bijan Robinson for a few years. Really, really good backup running back. He's kind of like a bowling ball. He's a 5'11", 220, so he's more of a thicker running back. And that's going to be really good to pair him up with the guy I'm going to mention here in a bit that they got from the draft. Roy Lopez, who's an interior D lineman, big like interior guy, like beef, like big 300-pound dude who is really good at stopping the run and plugging things up the middle. That was a really, really good get in my opinion. Kendrick Bourne, who's going to be their slot guy, because they need a slot guy. Yes, they had Greg Dortch, but you have Michael Wilson and you got Marvin Harrison. So you got your 1-2 receivers. Getting that slot for them is going to be fantastic. So getting a guy like Kendrick Bourne, who's been an okay player over the past few years, dating back from like his days from San Francisco, New England. And that was a really, really good get for them. They got Jack Gibbons, who's a linebacker from New England. They picked him up from New England. Cheap deal, too. This is probably my favorite signing of the whole free agency class because he does not miss tackles, like, at all. I think he only had, 6 missed tackles the whole season last year. He was a really, really good tackler, and he was very important for New England during that Super Bowl run they had last year. So that was a really, really good get for the Cardinals. They got Elijah Wilkinson, right tackle. Last year, the right tackle was Jonah Williams. did not pan out. Jonah Williams was god awful, like really bad. One of the worst right tackles in the whole entire league. So Elijah Wilkinson's not great. I'm not saying he is, but he is going to be a step up, and he has experience, and that's always needed for an O-line if you want to get better. They got Gardner Minshew for some reason, not for some reason, because he is a really good backup. But they signed Gardner Minshew as the backup, which is really, really interesting because there's going to be a talking point later on about Mr. Jacoby Brissett. So that's going to be very interesting. And last but not least, the last notable free agent signing was Andrew Wingard, who was a free safety for Jacksonville for 6 years. He was an undrafted guy, and he not flashy, but he's going to hold on to fort. He's going to be like a rotational guy at safety. So they had an okay free agency. Not great, but it was actually I didn't mind it at all. Their draft, is very controversial. So, and the third overall pick, they had the number third overall pick. So people were like, okay, well the O-line was in shambles last year, so maybe get a Francis Mayaga from Miami, who was a right tackle, maybe a Spencer Fanu, maybe a pass rusher, something. They ended up taking a running back. Jeremiah Love, the kid from Notre Dame. And I get why people don't like the pick. I get it. But at the end of the day, when your leading rusher, like I said before, had 333 yards for the season, you sit there and you look at a guy like Jeremiah Love and you just go, I can't pass him up. So I understand the criticism, I do. But at the end of the day, it's like he's the best running back by far in the class. In a class where there's not going to be a lot of running backs available that are starting material. It was a weak running back draft. So they just looked at Jeremiah Love and they just thought, well, how could we pass him up? And again, I don't blame him. So they got Jeremiah Love. Then they got Chase Pasantis, Texas A&M guard, in the second round. And I was a big fan of this pick. I think Chase Pasantis is a really, really good guard. He's going to be very, very stout against the run, and they need somebody like that. But he's going to be awesome against pass pro. He's an awesome pass pro guard. So hopefully, that pans out because again they need something on that O-line. So third round they got Carson Beck, and this is the interesting part. So Carson Beck for a couple years before the draft cycle was viewed as a potential first round pick. Got injured in Georgia, injured his shoulder. He already didn't have the strongest arm in the world, but now he doesn't really have a strong arm. It's below average, and it's sad, but that's kind of why he dropped. People thought he was going to drop to the fifth round, and he actually got picked in the third round. So NFL teams seemed like they were higher on him than media. But yeah, so Carson Beck is going to be interesting for them. Again, I don't see a ceiling for him just because of the arm, and he can't move in the pocket. And that was the big knock on him coming out when he was in Georgia a few years ago. So I don't hate the pick because, again, a quarterback's a quarterback, and but I don't. Yeah, I feel like Carson Beck's going to start for them eventually this year. I just have a hunch. So we'll see what happens. Caden Proctor is a very, very interesting pick. Small town kid, DT, small school kid. All the talent in the world. Very athletic, very twitchy for a defensive tackle. But but he's just not a finished project. He's not, and that's where you take guys in the fourth round, right? That are not great football players yet, but they have the potential of being quality starters in the league. So they got him. They got Reggie Virgil in the fifth round. Fine, receiving depth. They got Carson Sharharf, the linebacker from Iowa, in the sixth round, and they got Jaden Williams, who is he's a tackle from in the seventh round. So, all that considered, I think I'll give the love season as a whole as a C plus. Because again, there's nothing really they could do because of the whole Kyler Murray thing. Because they dumped his contract, they ate a lot of it up. So they were kind of strapped cash wise. So they were just put in a very tough position. But I do feel like they had an okay offseason. They attacked needs. They went out and they got O-line help. They got a running back in Tyler Algier who's not like fantastic, but he's going to be a good third down back for them. And then in the draft, again, I know it's controversial, but I really, really, really like Jeremiah Love, man. I think that Jeremiah Love is going to be a superstar in this league if he is behind a good O-line. And to be honest, his O-line for the Cardinals is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. So my questions for Arizona, it's not going to be offensively, strangely, as that might be shocking for a team that's probably going to be very bad next year. Defensively, I don't know what they are. I don't know their identity. They switched from a 3-4 to a 4-3, I think. The front seven's putrid. I don't know what to make of this team. Outside of Josh Sweat, they have nobody in the front seven. Secondary wise, they have Will Johnson, who is a promising cornerback from Michigan. But other than that, man, I don't. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I don't see this defense improving, and it sucks because they got down again. We'll just see. Outside of Buda Baker, Will Johnson, Josh Sweat, and maybe Denzel Burke, the rookie cornerback from last year, they have nobody in that defense, and and they have a lot of questions. So, what does that bring this team next year? So I actually did write up a schedule, the schedule up on my notebook, and I actually did make a prediction. Week 1, they are facing the Chargers, and I'm picking the Chargers because again, I don't know if they can stop the run. And Mario Hampton is going to have a really good season next year. He's going to have a really good second year for the Chargers. So I think they're going to eat them alive. This sounds ridiculous, but I think week 2, they are at home with Seattle. And I actually do think that they're going to beat Seattle. Hear me out. Seattle has a new running game. They drafted a rookie running back themselves in Jadarian Price. Jeremiah Love's teammate, actually, from Notre Dame. No more Kemba Walker. He's gone. Went to KC, because of course he did. So I still think Seattle is going to be good. I think they're going to make the playoffs still. I think Sam Darnold's going to struggle. And we always see fluke-ass wins in the beginning of the season every year. That makes no sense. And I don't know why. I have a hunch that this would be, yeah. So I have them upsetting Seattle in week 2. But don't get used to the winning because it gets a lot. Because, yeah, they're about to lose a lot. So they're going to face the Niners next week. They're going to get destroyed by the Niners, and that's going to leave them 1-2. It's self-explanatory. That would be a road game. Niners are just infinitely better. Yeah, it's going to be Niners all the way. Then they face the Giants, and actually to have them winning only because it's a young team, and I feel like they want to win. They're going to win a road game eventually. So I feel like they're going to beat the Giants because the Giants. I love Cam Scatterboo, but I do have questions about Cam Scatterboo. So coming off that Achilles when he wasn't even that explosive to begin with, so that's going to be very, very, very tough for the Giants. So I do have the Cardinals beating the Giants. And then, oh boy, it gets bad. They are going to get destroyed by the Lions, who are going to be mad as hell after last season. They're going to be much better this year. That leaves them 2-3. Then they're going to lose against Rams, 2-4. Lose against the Broncos in Week 7, 2-5. Excuse me. They're going to get whipped by the Cowboys in Week 8, 2-6. Week 9, Seattle is going to be mad as hell that they lost to them in Week 2. They're going to beat the hell out of them 2-7 in Week 9. Week 10, the Rams are going to beat the hell out of the Cardinals 2-8. Week 11, the Chiefs are going to beat them and they're going to be 2-9. Week 12, I do have the Cardinals winning against the Commanders just because of like a momentum thing. Because there'll be a long-ass losing streak, and it is going to be at home. So I feel like they're going to get the upset. So they'll be 3-9. They'll beat the Commanders. They're going to get their ass whipped by the Eagles at Week 13, and that's going to leave them 3-10. Then they have a bye, but then they lose to the Jets. I just think the Jets are going to be better. They're going to be 3-11 after they lose to the Jets. Then the Saints are going to beat them 3-12. Raiders are going to beat them 3-13. Then the last game is going to be a home game against the 49ers. Now remember, during the last week of the season, most playoff teams, if not all, but most teams that have clinched a playoff spot, they're going to rest starters. So that's why I did have them beating the Niners Week 18. Just because, it's last week to rally up the troops. We're going to miss the playoffs. Let's give them one final game to send the crowd happy. So that's going to end the season, unfortunately, in 4-13, which is definitely not good enough to make the playoffs. And that's going to leave them with a probably top 3, top 5 pick. So they're going to get a quarterback in next year's draft. Unless if Jacoby Brissett somehow has a breakout season, I don't. Or Carson Beck has a magical rookie season, I do not see this team going far. And it pains me because I like their offense a lot. I think the offense across the board is pretty good. I just think the defense is just not there. And it's going to take a while for that defense to get better. It's going to be a slow rebuild on that defense. So, yeah, there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it wasn't a happier video. I would have loved to start off with a team like, I don't know, the Ravens or the Bills or the Packers or some playoff team. But no, it had to be the Cardinals. And, yeah, the last 2 days were kind of miserable researching this game. But it's all in fun. But, yeah, thanks so much for watching. Comment down below what you want to see, how I can improve. It's my first time doing YouTube. So any suggestions to make me better would be fantastic. I am so happy for this new venture, and I hope you guys have a great day.